everyone, and welcome to Hit and Hustle from IrishSportsDaily.com. I'm your host, Greg Flamong, and with me, as always, is Jamie Uwayama, Mr. Jamie University. It is Tuesday, November 3rd, and we are going to talk about Notre Dame's big victory against USC. One more time, we're going to wrap that up a little bit. A lot of questions about Notre Dame's pass defense in this game. We're going to give some context to that and kind of what USC was doing to challenge Notre Dame and if it's a concern for us going forward. So we'll talk about that. We'll give a little bit of an injury update on Jeremiah Love. Matt Freeman posted something to IrishSportsDaily.com, so we'll just give a little update there. We're going to release our top 12. We've been doing this every Tuesday. We missed last Tuesday because of I was traveling, but we're going to do it again this week. The College Football Playoff Committee is going to release their rankings today. So we do top 12. We're not going to do the thing where we worry about seeding and all that stuff. That'll get taken care of next week. So that's going to be the show. And of course, your questions and comments that we always get to. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like what you hear today, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell soon, whatever it is. We are going to go live. Links to the podcast are in the description below, as always. And Jamie, tomorrow there's going to be like a signing day special. So we're going to have a couple of live shows. So you're going to want to subscribe to our channel for that. I think it's going to be 9 Eastern time now. We said 8 Eastern, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Mike and Christian are going to be on as players sign and they sign their NILs or NLIs and things of that nature. And then we'll be on later after Marcus Freeman gives his press conference, and we'll talk about that and what he says. So I'm not sure exactly what time that's going to be for our show because I'm not sure exactly what time Marcus Freeman is speaking. So we're going to have to monitor that. So keep an eye out for a couple shows tomorrow. So that's what's coming up. And then on Thursday, of course, we have our regular Hit and Hustle. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And Jamie, how you doing? How are things? Are you how was the rewatch? Did you enjoy watching the game back?
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Mostly from the offense perspective, just because the O-line played so well.
Yeah.
I really thought they did a lot of great things on offense, minus the 2 turnovers. And I just thought it was a well-coached game. And then I even say too, like the defense. I thought. We'll get into it in terms of what you're saying in terms of the pass defense and how aggressive USC was the entire game, but also how I think Lincoln Riley had some nice little wrinkles in there that were really hard to kind of prepare for and like to deal with for Notre Dame, which, kudos to him. Obviously, the guy's been really successful as a play caller for years and years. But for the most part, too, like, look how many freaking plays the defense made and did a lot of really good things in the game, too. So I thought, and anytime you win in those kind of things, and when you know the ending to the book, it's or the movie or whatever, it's entertaining.
Yeah, the hero makes the play at the end. So it was something. Notre Dame, they closed that game. They closed very strong in the game, right? It looked hairy there for a little bit. 35-28. Christian Gray makes the big play. Xavier Watts makes the big play. Notre Dame closed well. You want to close your holiday shopping well, and to do that, go to esqclothing.com. I hope everyone has. I hope everyone took advantage of Ge's 49% off for the last week. It went actually longer than we thought. He extended it to Cyber Monday yesterday. So that is no longer live, but you still get a nice little discount if you missed it or there's something else you want to get. Head over to ESQ Clothing. You've seen ESQ and all your favorite Notre Dame players and coaches. Over a decade of making the best custom clothing available, ESQ will help you look and feel your best. From a perfect fitting suit or sport coat, shirt or bomber jacket, or the perfect tuxedo for galas and holiday events, check out Ge's amazing work at esqclothing.com. Book an appointment to upgrade your wardrobe today. Mention ISD and get 10% off your entire purchase. Give yourself and your loved ones the gift of style. Okay, the passing stuff, right? So obviously they threw for a bunch of yards. I think it was 360 yards on the game. Some of that is due a little bit to just how the game went after the Christian Gray pick 6. They're throwing the ball. Notre Dame's playing a little bit softer in the back. So they get the ball right away. They come down. Xavier Watts gets a pick six. They didn't pass the ball. They ran the ball. That affected the offensive total yards. It kind of skewed things a little bit on that front. But I think the thing for me rewatching the game is there was a point in the game. It was right after Notre Dame scored. It was like a minute left to go up 14-7. And USC got a first down on 3rd and 3. They talk about one first down. Able Gaming, we'll talk about recruiting tomorrow. There's going to be 2 shows that talk about recruiting. So we'll talk about that then. We will they got the first down on 3rd and 3. They call timeout. The next play, they throw. Or I'm sorry, on the 2nd and 3, they threw deep a slot fade to Zachariah Branch that Rod Hurd able to get his hand there and break it up. Right, they threw that. They got the 3rd and 3. They call timeout. On the next play, they came back and threw another go ball to Makai Lemon, where he was able to get 1 foot in. And then, get out of bounds, right? So he made a great play there. Then they throw deep again on another go ball to, I think it was either Makai Lemon or it was Jacoby Lane against Christian Gray. Christian Gray gets called for pass interference. And then on the touchdown play, I don't know if you noticed this. To me, it was like a bust.
It was a total bust.
It was a bust, not on the defense. It was a bust like on an offense because Christian Gray, they're playing cover 2. Christian Gray jams Jacoby Lane like basically out of where he was trying to run. He was way behind Deuce Robinson. Jaden Mayava, like credit to him. He saw where he had an opening and he fit it in there. Xavier Watts is playing it over the top because he expects the ball to go over the top because Jacoby Lane's supposed to be running a fade. He zips it in there. Rod Hurd is kind of flat-footed because Jacoby Lane isn't really running a route at this point. Christian Gray basically knocked him off of what he wanted to do. Christian Gray kind of got himself out of position on that. It was like really fluky how that happened. But from that point on, USC just decided we're just going to chuck. We're just chucking the ball. We're throwing slot fades and we're throwing goal balls. Either we catch it or we're going to get a pass interference penalty. We were talking about this before the game. 14 passes of 20-plus yards, not counting the 2 pass interference penalties. So 16 passes of 20-plus yards, Jamie. Have you ever seen that? The most against Notre Dame this year in a game was 6 from Louisville. We have not seen a team do that. To their credit, they made plays on them, but it's just like that's the sort of thing. USC didn't scheme Notre Dame out of position. They didn't put any safety in a bind. They didn't confuse the defense. They just said, we're going to throw deep and hope our guys can make plays. So what do you take away from that?
Yeah, no, that's just they were just super aggressive, just going for it. And obviously, too, like them getting a beat on like, okay, we're just going to go at Christian Gray. Like They just, they're like, he's on tilt, we're going at him until like something happens. And they just kept going at him, right? So I think that had a lot to do with it. That's interesting. I didn't think about that with the cover 2 and him getting like that. I thought it was more of that they just got confused with the check and maybe they didn't get the check, but that totally makes sense what you were saying about that one.
They got confused on the check. I think you think that because on the other side, Leonard Moore is playing man and chasing across and everyone else is playing 2. So I think Leonard Moore definitely got confused. If he had come across to the other side of the field, they had a back on a wheel route that would have been wide open. So on the other side, it was a bust. On the front side, though, I think he just watch it back. Watch it back. It's completely just a mismatch of no one would ever run a route that way. So
okay, yeah, I will watch it back. Yeah, but I mean, obviously they were just going through it, and we talked about a little bit right before the podcast too. Like they didn't throw between the hashes like the whole game. They were just literally just throwing just deep down the sideline over and over again. I really wanted to get another look at the one Makai Lemon play where he beat Gray deep, where Gray was like trailing a lot, and I was like, was that like a double move, or did you just miss something? Was just he got stumbled? Like,
are you talking about that first one?
The first one, right? Because
yeah. I was looking for it too.
Yeah, they didn't, and obviously too, we don't have the all 22 of that, so we don't we didn't get a good look at it. But I wanted to know because it was like, I don't think he would have just got run by like that. Like something happened to get to that point. But anyways, it was interesting. But like I just think, they just kept taking those shots and doing it. And but it was kind of to their detriment because they only they had those two PIs, right? They had the two PIs. Okay, yeah, sure. But they were 4 of 14 on the other ones. Like,
yeah,
they didn't really complete. And if you think about it in the game too, if you look at contested catches, they only got 6 of 15 contested catches. And obviously, basically, like nothing against Leonard Moore, except for the one at the very end in garbage time. That's it. So it's like, so before that, it was 5 of 14 or whatever, right? Like, that's not good. That's not good for 50-50 balls, right? Like Notre Dame was winning on those. So I think that like even though it got them points and they were able to do stuff, they didn't really ever have a real flow to the offense. And because like they could have done more stuff against like the Blitz probably against Notre Dame, because Notre Dame obviously blitzed a ton after that because they weren't getting enough pressure with just 4 doing that. So I think that was one of the things like where maybe they got blinded a little bit by doing that too much, and it ultimately kind of hurt them. I
well,
guess
in the 4th and 3 play, what did they try to do? They tried to hit a deep fade ball, and they went at Clark. They went at Jordan Clark, and he beat him. But then Xavier Watts gets over there and makes the play, right? And that's like
a
3 play.
So that play too, like I tweeted it out too, because that play is a perfect example of Jordan Clark, him, and something that he has talked about too is like totally understanding of where your help is, and understanding that he had Xavier Watts over the top there because he's playing it because he has to. He's trying to stop them from getting 4th down. So he's playing it to the sticks. And he's thinking, I'm either going to get like a stop route, I'm getting an outbreaking route here, like a quick outbreaking route, and I got to be able to jump it and make this play because I can't give up ground. I can't give up ground here because if I do, they're going to complete it. It's convert on 4th down. So he has to play in that, and he's like playing aggressive because of that. If it's just straight cover 0, obviously he's getting cooked or whatever, right? But it's not. But it isn't cover 0. It's cover 1, and he knows that Watts is over the top. And then Watts, obviously, Watts is good enough to get over there and make the play, and he does, right? But that was also, dude, like that is so risky to throw that ball there. And Makai Lemon is a great player. I just my respect for him as a player only grew over the course of this game. I also like enjoyed how he was like he was going at Notre Dame, like talking the whole game. I was like, he's got a little bit of Golden Tate-ish in him, right? Like he's a player. But yeah, I do think like that kind of play right there is just a perfect example of a very low percentage play to call in that situation. And even like the first 4th down, they were 0 for 3 on 4th down. So those were huge in the game. Those are really huge. But the very first 4th down in the first drive of the game, like that wasn't a good call by Riley. Like that was like, you're asking a lot there. You're asking Branch to just like be a magician there. And it would have been way too much for him to be able to make that play. So I just thought that the stuff with Riley did with the screen game was really, really good. Like, because obviously like they run the mesh concept, straight up pick Gray on the thing, but it's allowed because they're throwing, because Branch goes back behind the line of scrimmage. So it's a screen, right? So they're allowed to do that. And that created a huge thing because they knew, because I was out of empty, they knew out of empty, they were going to get man, and they got that. And that great call. That Quinton Joyner one was like a very good call. It was a great catch by Quinton Joyner, but it was like a really, really good call because you just never see that. You always see those receivers clear out. They're not blocking. That guy cracked Jalen Sneed. Like, he
which is
cracked
illegal,
Jalen
by
Sneed.
the way.
It is, but it wasn't like a blindside block or whatever. But
It kind of was. I mean, look, it's fine. Whatever. I mean,
it was borderline. It was borderline.
He did it. One thing he didn't do is he blindsided him, but then he like fell backwards. Like, he didn't leap into him. That's probably why they let it go. I mean, on that point, by the way, like, Big Ten refs are different. They let so much go. They let so much holding go. They let a lot of those little things go both ways. It wasn't like it was egregious on one side.
Yeah, both ways.
Like their style. That was interesting to me on the rewatch. Like, man, these guys are getting held. They didn't call it. It's fine. I mean,
everybody, both sides. It was very physical. The one that Coach Hump was talking about. So that was a different play. That play, it might have been cover 3, but I thought it was cover 1 on that play with Gray, where I thought it was they were blitzing Watts off the edge.
Yeah.
And I think he was just sitting on it thinking, I mean, because that's what normally teams do. They see blitz, it's like, whatever, it's short. And they're getting the ball quick.
Also, you normally don't send blitz, and then they go RPO and then turn and throw field.
And then throw it
usually does not happen. Like that, no. That he was definitely confused. There was some read or tendency maybe that they went to, or that they had that they did not do in that situation, because he jumped inside like, oh, they're gonna go hot here. And instead they threw over his head. Like, but I was like, man, it's very rare to play action with your back to the play and then throw field like that. Yeah. Like, it's very, like I said, it's rare. You don't expect it. And they got beat on it. I mean, he was beaten bad, right? Like, he wasn't even close to him. So, cause you had Schuler like in the middle of the field, but nowhere close to, he's never getting there. No one's getting there. So but it was it's just like a weird game for Christian Gray specifically. Like, he was 8 of 12 against for 130 yards plus 2 15-yard penalties. So basically 160 yards by himself, which is essentially like half of USC's passing yardage.
But okay, here's the one thing though. When I look at some of those PFF numbers, when they track it, it's like he gets credited for that Zachariah Branch screen that went for 20, whatever it did.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I guess technically he's the guy in man coverage, but that's not on him. Like, it's just it's like a great scheme that whatever, right? So it's like
they have to give it to somebody.
You have to give it to somebody. I get it, but it's like, So as I was looking at that, I was like, oh, because I looked at of all the things and I was like, Branch on it, and then I realized, oh, it was that play. I was like, but what are you going to do, right? I guess you could give it to somebody or whatever, but also too, maybe don't give it to anybody. Like, I think
you could do that.
I think that's probably fair to do it that way, right? And just say, because he's technically not the primary. There is no primary defender there. He's in space. It's like a scheme thing that's up. So it wasn't like he just got ran by or missed the tackle or anything. So, but anyways, I think, there was a lot in that game they had to deal with. And then the fact that USC is just one of the rare teams, like, so like Ford he's a good player. Like, I don't know why this guy should have, I know he went to UCLA to try to kind of like boost up, and then he ended up coming back to USC. But he's someone that if he went to like, just like, I don't even know, like just mid-level Cal, just say Cal or whatever, right? Although Cal, what a sad ass school. It's terrible. They should be better at football.
Cal slander. It's funny.
Yeah, it's just true. It's just true. Like, they just keep Justin Wilcox for the 400th year and just finish 6-6 again. Like, because I know some Cal fans.
Yeah,
they're like, I know people who are part of the Cal Twitterati or whatever the heck it's called, and they like are like, can we just get rid of Wilcox, or like just get something to just give us something? Like, it's just not fun. It's not fun to be 6-6 every year and then like, oh, hey, we had a little thing there. It's like, nah.
You don't want to know a fun story? I went on a recruiting trip to Cal.
Oh, you did?
in 1998. Yeah,
Yeah.
when they played Nebraska.
Was Tedford? Was that Tedford?
No, Homo.
Oh, Homo.
On
Yeah.
Homo,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They went up.
Old school.
Nebraska came to town. It's a good game. They had good
Um,
fajitas in the thing.
yeah, like anyway, sorry, I got a Cal tangent there, but
Kyle Ford,
Ford
good
is a
player.
good player,
Yeah.
and that was you know, a nice little route that he got um on that one where he got Jordan Clark.
Yeah.
And
By the way, Jordan Clark was dragging. He was not in a good way. He
he
had
was hurt after that. He
his
was not,
shoulder, his knee was wrapped up. He was not moving well at all. They had to
no,
take him out a couple times for Rod Hurd in situations where it's like you want Jordan Clark out there. He was not feeling great.
they
He
absolutely
was
need that break so
he was
bad,
he
so
was
bad.
like his body language was bad for most of the second half. In terms of just like you could tell.
You could tell he wasn't
Watts
right.
was beat up. Yeah,
I mean,
Watts
Xavier
was
Watts,
beat up.
I can't believe Xavier Watts came right back into the game after that
Yeah.
play, which even if you think about that stuff that's happened when you're thinking about, okay, no Ben Morrison, no Howard Cross, no Botello, no Bubakar, no KVA, Watts had to leave the field and Clark had to leave the field. They came back, but like they weren't healthy,
They're
right?
hurting. Yeah.
And probably like a bunch more guys were probably just getting through it too. Because even as you like beat the snot out of Army the week before, when you're throwing those hits, that takes a toll too, and you're all doing that. So I think they were beat up and tired. And when you're running, that's the thing, which is partly smart on USC's part of like, we're just going to keep just going for it and just keep
Well, we
attacking
mentioned
down there.
before the thing that people don't realize is that when the other team is running goes all the time, you got to chase them. Play after play, you got to chase them. Like the touchdown, or the play after Christian Gray had the 99-yard pick six or whatever. The first offensive drive, which is very smart by USC, they immediately run a go at him because he's
Yeah.
tired. Like
He's so tired. That's
like,
so
he's
smart.
exhausted. It's
so
like
smart.
very smart play. Like it makes a lot of sense too. And I was commenting to someone today, actually this morning, like it was funny how like when Penn State played USC, I felt like the whole week there was a discussion of, oh, Penn State's got to fly west. They got to fly west. Any sort of result that they get is a miracle. It's a miracle that they could compete on the West Coast like this. East Coast team, they're coming from the Big Ten. You got to fly. The time change. It's all terrible. Meanwhile, Notre Dame goes to New York. Then they go to the LA, and no one mentions it. Like no one sees it as a factor, but it is a factor. It matters. Like it does. Now, bottom line though, is there anything in this game like for, a playoff game against, let's say they get Alabama, right? They got some pretty good wideouts. They like to take shots.
Yeah.
Is there anything in this game that makes you kind of side eye at Notre Dame a little bit? Like maybe there's something here that another team can exploit. There's like someone's discovered something. Do you feel like that's kind of a long-term thing?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was anything like that, but I just think that when you're looking at teams that have that many guys that you can throw at them to just be like, well, guess what? Now we're just Deuce. Now you run a go.
Yeah.
Jacoby, now you run a go. Like they have that many guys that you can actually throw out there that are actually good.
Mm-hmm.
That is just so tough to deal with. And because Notre Dame doesn't have that depth to do. Most teams don't. There's like a handful of teams. So it is one of those things too with if you're looking at Miami, not that I think Miami's going to get in, but it's like that is a thing where Miami, they're just going to keep chucking it and chucking it and chucking it. And that is going to be a thing for them. where they do that. And I would say Bama too, right? Is like, I would imagine they're going to be ultra aggressive with that kind of stuff too, because that is always how DeBoer is, right? Regardless of his talent, but that's with his talent, he's got the talent too. So, I mean, yeah, I think that is something that, to monitor, but not, I wouldn't call it red flaggy or anything like that too, because you still like, I mean, Notre Dame still won the game, and still, I mean, they're also playing, they still made the plays.
They won the game by making the plays on the types of passes that USC was trying. Like, that was how they felt like, well, we got to get over on them. Notre Dame won the game by making those plays.
Yeah.
And that matters.
That definitely matters. I also think what Jason Warnock is saying too about what we kind of referring to about the rest, I think that matters. I also think like, and I don't know if KVA, who knows? I'm going to guess very loose, maybe, if he gets back.
I'm gonna just say I don't think he's going to play. He was nowhere close. I mean, he was in a brace. He was dragging his leg like he was. I'll put it like this: if this game was not in his hometown, he wouldn't have traveled.
He didn't travel.
No.
Yeah. So, which fair enough, right? But I do think because he is a guy that. He is one of the, that's one of the things when you lose a Boubacar and you lose a Botello, and KVA isn't doing it that much, but he can win. He can win better than he's one of the best edge rushers that they have. And they missed that. So that not having that hurts. But the biggest thing in this game was not having Cross. And they did miss Cross. And also, obviously, if you had Ben Morrison, I'd be like, just keep chucking it. Just keep going, because they have three corners that you're just like, they'll be fine, right? But that's the thing. It's like they don't have that next corner they can put in and be like, hey, we feel good about putting him out there. That's what they're missing. And even to say, like, even if they had, they could have, if Jade Mickey stuck around, it's like, Jade Mickey's the guy they would go after all the time. That's not a
situation that would.
Yeah, they go after him all the time, right? Yeah. So, but Cross really, to me, because any kind of these games, if you are going again and again and throwing it at that much, Cross is going to affect the game as a pass rusher. He is. For sure. He is absolutely going to affect the game as a pass rusher. So, obviously in this game, as he wasn't healthy enough to play, that it wouldn't have made a difference if in this. But if he was fully healthy in this game, like the Louisville game, he was a monster in the Louisville game. So if you just added that Cross into the game, that could make a huge, huge difference. So that's why they absolutely need him in the thing, because not only is he someone that is so disruptive, anytime he's one-on-one in a pass rush situation, he can win and just be disruptive, but he's so good on all of their games they do up front. He's very effective. Even if he's not getting it, he's opening it up for other people. If teams are doubling him, that means they're singling Mills. And if Mills is getting one-on-one the whole game, it's the same thing. But they had to double Mills a lot more in this game, and that makes a difference, right? So, you could even say, I don't know, it's been so long since he's played, but Anye was kind of providing some of that interior pass rush too, and they missed that as well. But I don't know. They're obviously down a lot of guys in just in terms of their pass rush, that I think that is the one thing that I would, worry about the most. If teams are going to do that, you got to make them pay. And they hit Maeva quite a bit. They did. But you got to be a finish. And whoever this guy's super confusing, long name about Logan Thomas. But Logan Thomas is somebody that I would say that's one guy that might be able to help them
Yeah.
If he's back and healthy, because he was coming on. He was coming on before he got hurt. So that's someone that I think if you're looking at guys on defense who haven't, I think it's probably more likely that he would help outside of other than anyone in the secondary who hasn't played, because I just don't see those guys playing. Like, I mean, they would have had opportunities to play them in these games if they wanted to. So I think Thomas would be the one guy that really kind of stands out as like, you know what, he was showing something. And then also too, like, I think Bryce Young is coming on. And if Bryce Young if he can make a leap in this time, I mean, that would be huge for them. They absolutely need it.
Irish guy says, it seems like they didn't try and blitz as much as previous games. Was this a product of Cross being out? PFF has them for 50% blitz.
Oh, they blitzed a ton in this game.
Yeah. So basically 1 out of every 2 snaps they were sending, or pass sets they were sending players. So they were coming, kind of the normal thing. Couple things to point out too, as far as the passing is like, and especially in the first round game, the last Saturday's game, you'll never find a better day to play football in terms of better day to throw the football. It was like 72 degrees. There was no wind. I mean, it's another good point. Perfect passing day. Like, let's chuck it all over the place. South Bend in December, it's going to be 20 degrees. It's just not the type of, it's probably going to be a little windy, right? Like, you're just not going to be chucking the ball like that. In those types of conditions. The other thing is I wanted to bring this up because I think it was Jay Lamont. Let me find it real quick. It was Jay Lamont. This team isn't scared. Like BK team, Cincinnati came in our house and punked us. They were trash talking, especially their defense, and Notre Dame didn't respond well. This team doesn't take ish from nobody. I do want to point this out, and it did stick out to me in the stadium and in the pregame especially. So USC was out there warming up already, and a bunch of their players saw Notre Dame's players kind of line up in the tunnel to come out. I tried to get video of this, but it's like far away and it's not very good. But so Notre Dame's players line up in the tunnel. They're about to come out for warmups, and a bunch of the USC players, especially their skill guys, they all start to move over. They want to meet them. So Notre Dame's running out on their sideline, going out to warm up on the other side of the field. And those guys are standing there chirping. And Notre Dame's players stop. They stop. Their corners, the DBs, all those guys stop, and they're giving it right back to them. And they're just talking to them. And I don't want to say that wouldn't have happened in the past, but it happened throughout the game as well, even when things weren't going well. And that was something that I noticed about this team in this game specifically. Like, Notre Dame had Jeremiah Love. Notre Dame had a guy that USC did not have on offense. That's almost never the case. It's almost never the case that it's like, man, USC, we want that guy. We really want. Usually it's USC with the Jeremiah Love guy leaping over players like that. And you have Xavier Watts, who makes that 4th down stop, swaggering around, waving his finger. Jordan Clark gets in Mekhi Lemon's face, right? Like, they are going at it. And it's like Notre Dame's players, their defenders especially, they knew that they were going to make the plays to win. And then they did. Like, to them, it was expected. And they carried themselves like they already knew how it was going to go. And I don't want to say, like, other teams weren't like that. Like, I'm sure Julian Love had swagger. I know Alohi Gilman had swagger. I know Kyle Hamilton and Kurt Heinisch and those guys, like, they would talk to you. Like, they were like that. But at the same time, too, but by the way, those teams were successful against USC. But the thing is like, this team, it stood out in the game, where it's like Notre Dame knew, like, they were the alphas in the game. And then they went and did it, right? And they did that. And I thought that really stood out to me. And like, the way Marcus Freeman coaches these guys, I think is making a difference, because they carried themselves like they were confident. They knew no one has more swagger than Jeremiah Love. It's just they've they've got that thing that everyone kind of wants. You know who else has got that thing everyone wants is VSR Media, Jamie, with the things that they can do for your media company. They can give you all the things that you need, all the things that you want. They've got something that no one else has. A variety of products and services that can help your small business or your social media. It's founded by Notre Dame football pregame host and Emmy award-winning anchor Vahid Sadrazadeh. VSR Media provides professional and cinematic video and photo. Whether you're looking for a collegiate or pro-level highlight reel, have a personal story to tell, or aiming to diversify and grow your business, VSR Media specializes in short and long-form video storytelling, social media management, and website design. VSR Media also captures professional headshots, senior and sports photos. Contact them at vsrmediacompany.com. Mention Irish Sports Daily to receive 20% off your first project. Visit them online or give them a call at 574-800-9106. They could probably do something for your Christmas card photos too, Jamie, if anyone.
Yeah, they probably could.
The Shark 83 says Ravens drafting Watts, ? You know what? Let's speak it into existence. Let's manifest it into real life. I would love nothing more. I will move to Baltimore. No, I will not. But
yeah, you won't. But
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We want to manifest it. It'd be the greatest thing that ever happened to me from an NFL standpoint. Justin Knox says, a USC Homer friend asked me after our first offensive drive, which NFL team did we find number 4 and how do they swindle his eligibility? Yep. That's the thing, man. He was the guy. He was the guy. Let's go over our top 12, Jamie.
Hold on a sec. Jay Lamont, get out of here with this slant. Don't be slandering guys. I hate this when people do this because Mitchell Evans gets tackled by Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith, darn good player. It's not like he had momentum. He caught a stop route and then got tackled. Get out of here. I hate when people do this. I've never seen Mitchell Evans break a tackle before. Please throw on the film.
He made one of the biggest plays in the game.
Throw on the film. Just don't take shots at guys. You're better than that, Jay. You're better than that.
All right. Let's do top 12. Let's do top 12. I made a graphic, Jamie. All right. Here's my top 12. Very excited. All right. So Oregon's number 1. Texas is 2. To be honest, I don't love it at Texas at 2. But look, they didn't lose to Northern Illinois. That's something that didn't happen. So they're going to be 2. I got Notre Dame 3 above Penn State. I've talked about this a bunch. Notre Dame, listen, they didn't need overtime. Didn't need overtime. Never trailed by multiple touchdowns. Get out of here with that. Here's a controversial. I got SMU at 5. Now, I know you do too as well. So not controversial to you. I just think look, they're in the ACC championship game. They've only lost the one time. One loss was to BYU up in the mountains, right? Like that's tough. That's a tough place to play. I believe you said that was kind of a weird game as well. It was just kind of like weird how that game happened. That's also not Northern Illinois. Here's the thing. Tennessee, I got it 6, right? There's a lot that's not impressive about Tennessee, but like the loss against Arkansas, I don't mind it. I don't mind that loss. The loss to Georgia, I don't like. Okay, I don't like that as much. But they did beat Bama. Who was the other team they beat?
Oh gosh.
Well, they beat Bama. They
beat Bama. Yeah,
we'll give them that. We'll give them they beat Bama. Losing to Georgia, I don't like, but that was on the road. I got Ohio State 7, Indiana 8. Basically, I really should have Indiana ahead of Ohio State. I should, but Ohio State whooped them. They whooped them, and Indiana was basically non-competitive in that game. I got to dock them for that. You were non-competitive. The Ohio State thing, it's a disaster. What happened against Michigan? It's a total disaster. They should be totally embarrassed, and they are totally embarrassed, right? It should never have happened. That was also kind of a weird game. So I like them ahead. Here's the thing with Georgia at 9, below Indiana. Okay. Here's the thing with Georgia. And I was having a conversation with my friend of mine who thinks that Georgia should be 4 or 3, actually, because apparently Ryan Russillo has Georgia at 3 because of schedule and stuff. Here's my thing, right? I think we have to live in a world where, like, we look at, okay, Georgia ended up winning the game. It's referee assisted. It just is, in my opinion. I mean, that's fraudulent. Like, it's a fraudulent. We have to live in a place where it's like, you know what? The refs gave them the game. I'm not going to give them an entire loss, but I am going to dock them. For me, it's like it's a real world loss. Like, they're getting crushed. They're getting dominated. Okay. Then the refs bail them out of the game. Okay. They don't call the targeting. It's an absolute targeting. They don't call the fumble at the goal line before their first touchdown, which I think, to me, looks like a fumble to me. Real world fumble to me. They don't call the targeting on the other fumble. They call the DPI, which is a disgrace and an embarrassment. Okay. So, like, to me, you looked bad in that game. They looked bad against Kentucky. They looked awful in the loss to Ole Miss. And I understand that it's a tough schedule. I get it. When you look bad multiple times in a season, I got to dock you for that. And you have a real world loss, in my opinion. You got to get docked. I keep them above Bama because they didn't get that one loss. And Bama, like, the same thing. I know Bama beat Georgia. I can't overlook losing by 3 touchdowns to Oklahoma. You're losing by 3 touchdowns, Jamie. They already have 2 other losses. I can't do that. We can't have that. And then I got Arizona State, the Fighting Scatterbows, at 11, and then I've got South Carolina at 12. That's where I'm at. I'll put yours up, and then we can compare and contrast. You please explain.
I mean, I think Oregon and Texas
are obvious. We've got the same top 5, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I feel great about Penn State at 4, but I really kind of think you just can't really put anybody else there. And then SMU, to me, it's just like one of those like tentative things because it's like, okay, well, now they got to win the ACC. And, that's kind of what it is. I mean, the thing is with SMU, I think they're a great team? Do they have like a great resume or anything like that? No, but I think they're a good team who has played well, and playing well has mattered. Like, they've really only had, they lost that game to BYU, and they had the one stinker game against Duke that they won.
Yeah.
Right. So
6 turnovers.
The 6 turnovers, right?
And they still won.
And they still won the game, right? And they still won the game. But really, other than that, they've kind of like controlled everything and done what they were supposed to do. I would have loved to see them play Miami in that game. I hate that Clemson is even have a shot at this because they're just couldn't be more fraudulent. But that's just what it is. And Clemson, will have a shot to win the game, right? So, I don't know. I mean, regardless of them being at 5 anyways, if they win the ACC, they're going to be the 3 seed. So, good for them. I put Georgia at 6, but I did not feel good about it. The only reason I just put them above Tennessee because they beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason. I was just like, I had a tough time just kind of doing that. I think I have no idea where they're going to put Georgia, but they don't deserve to be anywhere near the top 4. They don't. So even 6 is probably too generous to them, but from this point down, from like Georgia down, I just think the teams haven't played well enough to really do it. And so it's like, if you said to me you were going to flip Ohio State and move them up or something like that, right? And I'm like, okay, but I mean, they've losing to Michigan like that, and they kind of almost gave away the Penn State game too. Like, I think there's real questions about their offense and like, why aren't they better? Like, and then the other thing is with, I know you're not supposed to take into account the injuries and all that kind of stuff too, But them losing their the starting center and their starting left tackle, they're stinky up front since then.
Stinky, smelly.
Yeah.
Do you think Ohio State would be undefeated if they had Riley Leonard? Oh, Chris Schreiber just asked the question.
There you go.
Or made the point.
I don't know.
I think they're undefeated.
Probably, yeah. But like they'd be 11-1 at least. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. I just it is so funny to think about this $20 million roster, and I'm like, maybe they should have spent more on the quarterback. You know, like it does really seem like they could have done something a lot more there, because Will Howard, like no one was. I understand there weren't a lot of guys out there in the market that you could just get, but just imagine if they were like Cam Ward instead of like,
oh yeah,
I mean that would have made a huge difference. Like they'd be 12-0 for sure, and just all. I mean, and would be the front runner for everything, right? So, and then it's just like Indiana. Do I love Indiana? No, I mean I don't think like Indiana like. But they lost to Ohio State, and I know people will say, oh, it's the special teams. There was more than the special teams in that game.
They have 151 yards total offense.
Yeah,
that's unbecoming.
And then also too, if you look at like the second half against Michigan, who were the only two real defense they played all year. Mm-hmm. I don't like Indiana really in the playoff when they got to play some of these other teams. Like, congrats on everything they've done to dominate the lower tier opponents that they've played, but that's kind of what it is. I mean, Boise. I mean, they don't really have the resume in terms of just like who they've beaten. But I didn't even want to put any of like Alabama in it. But I mean, I kind of have to, because it's just like there's just not enough teams in there to do it. So it's like, so I just kind of gave them by default. I made them 10, but like I don't feel great about it. Alabama at 11, it's just like, I don't know, 3 losses, and I just think like 2 of them are bad losses. So it's like there's that, and then Arizona State. Do I think South Carolina is better than Arizona State? Yeah, I do. But I think South Carolina's losses and who they lost to is what, to me, should probably keep them out. That's not, it's just who they're kind of competing with. Like, so you say Ole Miss, they lost to Ole Miss, right? Like, they
lost by 3 touchdowns, man. Like, yeah. That matters. Like, you can't lose by 3 touchdowns. I know it's like, like, strength of schedule and all this stuff. It's the same thing with Bama, man. Like, or Bama, the same thing with Georgia. Oh, strength of schedule. It's like you lost by 3 touchdowns. Like, when is that okay? When is it okay to lose by multiple touchdowns? I get it. You're playing a tough game. Fine, right? No problem. Tough conference, fine. 3 touchdowns? Come on, man. Like, you can't do that. Have some pride.
Yeah. Continue. Yeah. And I mean, so I think, but because Bama beat them, that's why I would have Bama above them and in it, really. And that's really the only reason, really, because I think if I was just taking a look at it blind and who they weren't playing, if they didn't have a head-to-head, I would 100% just be like, South Carolina, you're in, right? And I mean, Arizona State is going to, it's all like predicated on them, like winning the Big 12, obviously, and just kind of getting in through that way. And I mean, I'm sure people will be excited to play Arizona State in the first round, whoever's playing them.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. They've won enough games against good teams to at least be deserving of being there. So yeah.
What position you play? Jay Lamont wants to know.
that I used to play.
Yeah.
Oh, defensive line.
What? Don't say defensive line, Jamie. Give me.
Hold
I
on.
want 3I, 3 tech, NT. What were you playing? 1 tech?
I mean, well, I was a rush end similar to a Viper.
Okay.
That's what I was at one point, and then I also was, but I mean, I also had played. No, I had to put on like a lot of weight and play nose, which was just brutal. It was just brutal.
My man went from went from Batelho to Heinisch.
I tell you what though, then I was like, nah, I ain't doing that anymore. And I lost like a ton of weight, and I was like,
Yeah,
nah.
yeah.
And then I went back to like a Viperish type of thing. Because I was like, it's you know what, just no one wants to be blown up like that. It's not fun. It's not fun.
It's not a good time. Interesting. Chris Schreiber says, to each of you, what Notre Dame player were you most similar? No, Greg, you can't answer X or Kyle. I was definitely closer to X than Kyle, I'll tell you that. Neither one of them, though. I was smaller. Let's see. I was probably closer to maybe like Jalen Elliott or like Nick Coleman. Nick Coleman is probably the best answer because I was smaller, right? Like Nick Coleman, 2017. I was a smaller guy, but I was fast. That's probably the best comp I can give.
I mean, probably. I mean, I'm probably like a Donnie Heinisch or something like that. I guess, like,
Yeah.
guy with motor, just undersized guy with a motor.
Yeah, I was probably closer to that. I mean, people are asking about recruiting. We don't believe that Notre Dame is going to land Madden for Amo. Listen, I mean, we don't have to look. We're going to have a ton of recruiting content tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna have a ton tomorrow.
The only
We
thing
don't really
I'll
kind of
say,
want to step on it. So,
well,
but
the
yeah,
only thing I'll say, and I'll say this again tomorrow. It's fine, but people are asking, so I'll just say, like, the only thing I'll say is, big picture wise, Notre Dame did not land the players that they went after since like the summertime, right? The players they got before that, those are like, this has nothing to do with the guys in the class right now. I don't like going in on prospects who have committed to Notre Dame and who they went after. But Jay Lamont says not getting last minute big fish. Like that is true. All those targets, like they hyped up the FSU game. They're not getting anyone from that, right? Who wasn't already committed. They're not getting anyone from that. They didn't get anyone from those June visits. And the reasons why we'll get into tomorrow, but like just on the face of it, that's a failure for them. It just is. And like what we know about Marcus Freeman is like he is not okay with it. He is not okay with this. Like there's no way he is. You have to understand like how he is, and just like he is not settling for that. They need to get some things figured out. They do need to figure it out. But yeah, it's like it's not the way they close is not good enough, and it's not indicative of what they want to do. So I'll just kind of say that. Coach Hump says, "What about Matthias Farley? Is he close to you?" Yeah, that might be that's close, right? Like I never really played nickel like that in college, but yeah, Matthias Farley's kind of that's not a bad one. Do you think Notre Dame gets the 4th seed? Do you think they'll rank Notre Dame?
They can't get the 4th seed.
Well, no, but like
oh yeah, he's saying the 5th seed. Yeah,
5th seed. Do you okay? You think they'll get the 5th seed? I was thinking 4th rank, but whatever. You think they'll rank Notre Dame ahead of Penn State today? Let's just put it there first.
I mean, I think they will, but I mean, I don't know. ESPN's Heather Dinich says no, so who friggin' knows? I don't know. Like
I think that I think ESPN needs to look at the way they're covering this. In my opinion, they've been like a disgrace.
I don't really get why she's the expert there and is like supposed to be like, I get what they are. I don't really feel like she did. No disrespect to her as a reporter or anything. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like I don't feel she has an accurate read on what they do because they don't have an accurate read. They change week to week. So it's just one of those things where I don't know. I don't think, I also think it's just one of those where it would be far better if I was the committee, and I guess, they look at it week to week, whatever, but it just makes more sense to just be like, well, Notre Dame is above Penn State because of just totality of like what they've done and like this 10-game win streak and how much they've won. And then also like their the comparable win against USC and all of that.
Yeah.
And then if Penn State wins the Big Ten, boom, they're up.
Yeah.
I just think that makes more sense to me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they think about it.
I just think like I think it hit a critical mass when Tessitore was doing his thing during the Georgia game.
Oh, that was so bad. You
can't do that because it makes people think that the network is then in league with the committee and they're shilling. And look at it makes it especially so when ESPN is the SEC, right? That's their network. You just can't do that. The ESPN is too big. Like you're too big of a thing. And like he really did the network, he did the conference, and all those people a disservice. It just seemed like they were shilling for it. They seemed like they were in league with that, and it seems like there's like backroom deals going on. People already are conspiratorial in nature about these things. You can't do that. It was really, really bad, and the college football needs to get that stuff out of the game. They really do. With the conference officials and all that stuff, it's got to go away. It was, I can't tell you how gross it was. Just as an outsider watching it, it just was like, man, you're like, they're in league to screw over Georgia Tech. And it seemed like Tessitore was rooting for it.
I think Joe Tess sucks too. I'm just not a fan of his.
That's fine as well. That's fine as well.
I'm
but man, it reeked. It was real bad. Yeah, in my opinion.
I just don't enjoy him. Congrats to him on getting a WWE gig because he's better suited for WWE than he is for actual sports. I'm sorry, and I love WWE and like all that kind of stuff. Used to be a big WWE guy, but like he's just anytime a guy gets like half a step on someone, just settle down. At least Gus Johnson saves it for the big moments. Like, can't stand it.
Gus Johnson. All right, we can end it there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. If you like what you heard, please hit the like. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so whatever it is, we are going live. Remember, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific time, there's going to be a recruiting show with Mike and Christian, our one of our recruiting guys. And then Jamie and I will go on after Marcus Freeman gives his press conference, and we'll get more analysis there. So we're gonna have videos. Christian's got a ton of insight on the recruits. He's got a ton of insight on players they missed. He knows a lot about Madden Faremo and things like that. So we can talk about that. So there's going to be a lot of good information. Check us out tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time. I'll send a reminder on Twitter and on irishsportsdaily.com. So have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow a couple of times. Keep hitting and hustling.